Hello, my friends. This is Brian, the Speaker for the Dead, and I'm coming to you today with a video on the Orville Season 3 up until this point. Today is the 20th of July, and so we will be getting another episode tonight. Seth MacFarlane has already been tweeting out about how great this episode's going to be. Of course, I'm thinking he thought that the rest of this season was great. And no, I have to disagree with him. There have been great moments. There have been great performances. But overall, I would say this is the weakest season by far. Now, let's get into this a little bit. Now, for those of you, this may be the first video that you've been seeing of me for a while. I haven't been doing very much. I've been starting my own business, and it has been very time-consuming. We're in kind of a lull right now, so I have a bit of an opportunity to make a video. Also, I've been participating whenever possible in Loki's Mornings of Mischief's channel, his review of the Orville on Friday at 8 a.m. or 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. my time. So I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I have not been able to talk about on Loki's channel, because there's a group of us and not everybody gets a chance to say everything they want to say. It's a great group discussion, and I've really had a lot of fun discussing the Orville. But it has been really sad to see what, as Clobbering Time puts it, what once was something to be extremely excited about and extremely looked forward to every week has now become just like every other TV show being put out there right now, which is to say it's just borderline, oh no.
Fine.
You don't know what you're gonna get from week to week. And it's been really sad because the Orville for a lot of us had become that hope, that image, that thing that we were all hanging on to, thinking, okay, it can get better. It can get better. That we don't have to deal with substandard science fiction fantasy. That somebody out there loves science fiction fantasy the same way we do. This had become the successor to Star Trek, and now it has become just another Star Trek. Now, for those of you who know me and can see from the pictures up on the wall, I love Star Trek. Actually, my Star Trek poster's over there right now. But I love Star Trek. I have loved Star Trek, Star Wars, all science fiction. Growing up, I have loved it and have been so invested in it. And to see what has happened to it in the last few years is just devastating to someone like me who is a major science fiction buff. And the Orville was that bright spot of hope that made us all think for a minute, hey, somebody gets it. Somebody realizes that we don't want to be beat over the head with politics every week. And if you do want to talk about politics to us, you've got to be clever, and you've got to be fair, and you've got to be even-handed with it, and you have to have some moral premise to base what you're doing on, because that's what Star Trek was fantastic for. Star Trek kind of showed both sides of an issue, but it showed the moral center, the moral core of an issue, and said, this is what you can't violate. No matter what you believe here or there, these are the core morals of decency and honor and humanity, and this is the stuff that's really important. All that other garbage is just that. It's just garbage. Or it's just window dressing, really, at the end of the day. And that's what the Orville was doing somewhat through its first 2 seasons, and it felt like it was doing it well. Well, now they've moved to a different network. They've moved from Fox to Hulu, and I don't know whether whoever was in control, whoever was keeping Seth Meyers kind of on a lead, Seth MacFarlane. I think I've said his name wrong several times throughout this video, so I'm sorry.
Actually, well, not sure I deserve that.
But Seth MacFarlane, somebody was holding him back. Somebody was saying, all right, you can do this, but you cannot do that. And it was keeping the show centered and based. And it was giving it something good to become and to go into. Well, something or somebody has been lost now, and that's not happening anymore. Seth MacFarlane has been left to his own devices, and he has run to the left. And the show is suffering for it this season. We are seeing amoralistic stories. We are seeing stories where there's no values, there's no judgments given. Really, it's just hey, whatever.
Here in Cloud Cuckoo Land, there are no rules. There's no government, no babysitters, no bedtimes, no frowny faces, no bushy mustaches, and no negativity of any kind.
You just said the word no like 1,000 times.
And there's also no consistency.
In a society, it's basically what we were seeing in the first two seasons was a society that had gotten past so many of its problems. It still had problems, in my opinion, but it was similar to Star Trek in that humanity had kind of overcome its infancy. And now what we're seeing is that this season is a society that sprouted from the corruption and the decadence and the evil of the world right now. We didn't overcome any of our problems, any of our evils, any of our obstinacies, and we just went straight forward from the corrupt place we were. We didn't learn any lessons.
I hate this place.
Because this season we've seen abortion talked about, like, hey, it's okay, and if you dare criticize somebody on an abortion, you're just a big old meaty, because you just don't know their life, you don't understand their situation. You're damn right I don't, and I don't care. If you have sex and you do something you're not supposed to be doing, you don't just get to go kill the person whom you have created through the poor choices that you have made. Okay, I hate to tell everybody out there this, but if you have sex, it's to create human life.
Because of what?
Okay, that is the actual purpose of it. Now, human beings use it in a different way, but if you get right down to the nitty-gritty, fundamental, basic building blocks of life, that's what it's for. It's not for recreation. It's not for having a good time. And that's just a side effect. That's just something that makes us want to do it so that we'll perpetuate our species. But the real crux of the matter is that if you're having sex, that is your body's way of saying, I want to project my genetics into the future. And we're hardwired to want to do this, just like every other mammal. Just like every other animal on this planet, bug, insect, whatever. And we have seen him making silly stories where these spider creatures, infest the crew and take over the people, and there's no sign of security to stop them. There's nobody that's fighting back except for like the 6 people who are on the bridge. It's just like, where the hell's the rest of the crew? It's just really sad. There are huge story problems, huge plot problems this season where it just so many things don't make sense. And it's really sad to see this once great TV show start to crash and burn. It's like watching an old space station's orbit decay, knowing that it's going to burn up in the atmosphere, and that's where we're at. That's where we're at. The Krill, they started something interesting at the beginning of the season where they were going to make peace with the Krill, and it was going to open up whole new areas of exploration. Well, now that's gone. So what was the point of that whole episode where people turn into spider creatures and stuff like that and become all creepy, ooey gooey things, if now, because of the Krill treaty falling apart, they can't even get to that part of space anymore? So, I mean, without going through Krill space, which would start a war, which they're already kind of in, but I mean, it completely negated that episode for me. And then you've got these rambling episodes where they're like, they want to create fear for people because of the people that were discovered in the first season that advanced extremely fast, and Kelly was a god to them for a short period of time because they come in and out of our temporal timeline every 7 days or something like that, and it's been 700 years for them. And it just, I mean, that episode was so poorly written when this being who has become basically immortal and omnipotent, kind of like a Q, shows up. She talks like a valley girl and acts like, oh, we're over these problems. It was just, it was poorly acted, poorly written, and it was just really sad. And it just this whole season has left me, the further it's gone on, the worse I feel about it, because there's no cohesive storyline. You've got them messing with time travel and Gordon being tortured by his friends when that didn't need to happen. They could have undone the changes and the damage to the timeline without going to tell Gordon that they were going to do that to him. And just, I mean, it was really horrendously done. And it wasn't that like what they did was bad, or it was necessarily that it didn't have to happen the way it did, but it left such a bad taste in my mouth for Ed and Kelly. I'm like, when did you guys become the villains of this show? You just tortured Gordon unnecessarily. You didn't have to tell him a thing. You just had to say, all right, Gordon, we wish you well, and you know, we realize we got here too late, and we're sorry, and we're going to go. And he wouldn't have had to go in and tell his children that them and their families about to be wiped out. He could have saved him all of that torment and torture, and left that completely undone, and just went and fixed it. And Gordon would have never known anything was going to happen. Now, something tells me at some future date, the Gordon's children that got erased in that timeline are going to jump into this timeline. It's going to cause a whole thing, and I hope they don't do that, because that would just be stupid. It would be like trying to write Denise Crosby back into TNG like they did by creating an episode where she goes back and then her kid comes forward and that whole thing, which was just weird. But they were trying to put Denise Crosby back in the show, and so that's how they did it. And bless their hearts, I like Denise Crosby and I like the character they created, so I kind of overlooked that. But with this, when you don't do it right, people aren't going to overlook your mistakes. They're going to go, no, that was dumb. That was stupid. And that's the difference between bad writing and good writing. Good writing, people will overlook your mistakes. They will overlook your flaws. They will overlook a plot point that you've screwed up or a plot hole that you've left, because they're just like, you know what, for the most part, we're going to give it to you. You know, it's a gimme. But when you're writing poorly and you're making bad choices and you're completely corrupting your characters, and your morals are all over the place and nothing makes sense, and the society that you've built your morals on, there are no morals. It's just a free-for-all of whatever you want, which kind of bothered me in the first couple of seasons, honestly, when you see Lamar show up smoking a joint with a chick half dressed in his doorway one episode, and I'm just like, really? You can just make edibles out of the and then you've got Ed and Kelly drunk off their butts and talking to an admiral, which he brings it up later in the episode. I'm just like, really? So we've still got alcoholism, drug abuse, and all of these things because people haven't got over their stupidity. Like, really? I don't want to live in a future where we have spaceships and all these great things if the only way you make yourself feel good about things is to go smoke pot or eat an edible or do whatever. I want to live in a future where I don't have to do any of that crap to make myself feel like I'm okay with life. If we haven't overcome those problems, what is the point of getting to that great future? That's what Star Trek did. Star Trek, they had synthahol, so you didn't actually get out, you didn't get drunk, but you got to still enjoy the taste of the alcohol and everything, but you kept your sanity because you didn't need to get drunk off your butt to have a good time. Life was great. Life was good. You didn't need to get drunk to have fun and to enjoy yourself. You could go to a holodeck and you could do all these crazy fun things. I mean, and that's the point. If you have no morals, that you cannot see that you need to overcome these problems, then a show like the Orville doesn't work. If you keep all of humanity's foibles, a show like this doesn't work. And that's what Gene Roddenberry understood. Gene Roddenberry understood human beings have to overcome their stupidities to get to that point. But Seth MacFarlane has tried to keep all of the stupidity that humanity is constantly involved in, like abortion, like gender roles and gender dysphoria and stuff like. Good Lord, if we get to the future and people haven't figured out that gender dysphoria is a real problem and we need to fix it and not just let people mutilate their bodies to become whatever they want.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
I don't want to be there. I don't want to be part of that future. Who would want to be part of that? That's the horror show we're dealing with right now. Why would I want to move forward into a 200 years in the future where it's still just as bad and stupid as it is right now? If that's what you're making, nobody's going to want that because it's just a newer, updated version of the horror show we're all living in right now. If you want to do that, then you need to make a dystopian science fiction show, not a hopeful science fiction show. And you can't do both of those things. And he's trying to have it both ways, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Your society would crumble and everything would fall apart. Like it is right now in the show, which is what we're getting in season 3. Anyway, I didn't want to ramble on that long. I'm trying to keep this to it, but I'm trying to condense everything we've seen in the season down into this one little video because I don't know how much time I'm going to have. But just, let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on the Orville? Have they jumped the shark? Because I feel like one more episode and that just is rambling and moronic and has no moral core or center where anything makes sense. And I'm just going to be like, okay, I can't. I don't want it to get renewed if this is what we're going to get. If this is what Seth MacFarlane is planning on doing, no, thank you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and thank you for being here, and thank you for spending your time with me, and I hope you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you next time. Bye now.